In the annals of American history, few figures loom as large or cast as long a shadow as Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He arrived on the national stage during an era of unprecedented crisis, a nation brought to its knees by economic collapse and the looming specter of global war. Yet, from the depths of personal adversity, he rose to become a colossus, fundamentally reshaping the very fabric of American society and its place in the world. This is not merely the story of a president, it is an examination of power, leadership, and the profound impact one individual can have on the course of history. We will explore 5 pivotal aspects of FDR's presidency, facts that challenge conventional understandings of his legacy and reveal the complex, often brutal, realities of his time. These are the truths that illuminate why he is often considered a second Lincoln, a leader who saved the Union in a different, yet equally profound, way. Our journey will uncover the betrayal of the body, revealing how personal tragedy forged an indomitable will. We will witness the war against the oligarchs, a radical confrontation with entrenched economic power. We will confront the shadow of a dictatorship, grappling with the implications of his unprecedented 4 terms. We will analyze the bloody arithmetic of his wartime strategy, a cold calculation that saved American lives at a staggering global cost. Finally, we will dissect an inconvenient legacy, understanding why his monumental achievements continue to provoke fierce debate today. In the summer of 1921, a vibrant, athletic Franklin Roosevelt, then 39, was struck down by poliomyelitis. The disease left him paralyzed from the waist down, a devastating blow that threatened to end his political career before it truly began. Yet, this physical betrayal, this profound vulnerability, paradoxically became the crucible in which a titan was forged. The years of agonizing rehabilitation, the constant struggle against his own body, instilled in Roosevelt an extraordinary patience and an acute understanding of human psychology. He learned to mask his pain, to project an image of strength, and to master the art of subtle manipulation. This period of intense personal trial served as a profound reboot, forcing him to confront his own limitations and discover an inner resilience he might never have otherwise known. His physical confinement also sharpened his intellect and deepened his empathy. Unable to move freely, he became a master of communication, particularly through the nascent medium of radio. His fireside chats, delivered directly into American homes, transformed him from a distant political figure into a trusted, intimate voice. He spoke plainly, reassuringly, explaining complex policies in simple terms. This direct connection fostered an unparalleled sense of unity and national purpose during the darkest days of the Depression. Roosevelt became a master of words, using his voice to bridge the chasm between government and the people, turning personal adversity into a powerful tool for national leadership. His disability, far from being a weakness, became an unexpected source of his immense strength and persuasive power. Upon assuming the presidency in 1933, Franklin Roosevelt faced an America on the brink of collapse. The Great Depression had shattered the economy and eroded public trust in institutions. His response was the radical and sweeping set of programs known as the New Deal, a direct assault on the prevailing economic orthodoxy and, by extension, the powerful financial elite. Central to this transformation was the Social Security Act of 1935, a landmark piece of legislation that established a national system of social insurance. It provided pensions for the elderly, unemployment benefits, and aid for dependent mothers and children, laying the foundation for America's modern welfare state. Beyond direct aid, Roosevelt's administration launched massive public works initiatives. Programs like the Civilian Conservation Corps, the Public Works Administration, and the Works Progress Administration put millions of unemployed Americans back to work, commissioning over 13 million individuals on projects ranging from building roads to planting trees. These policies were met with fierce opposition from powerful business interests and conservative politicians. Bankers, industrialists, and wealthy elites viewed Roosevelt's interventions as an attack on free enterprise and individual liberty. They branded him a red, a socialist, and famously, a traitor to his class, accusing him of dismantling the very capitalist system he claimed to save. Roosevelt's actions were indeed audacious and, at times, deeply controversial. He froze citizens' gold holdings, effectively confiscating private savings to stabilize the banking system. These measures, while drastic, were presented as absolutely necessary to address the dire economic conditions and prevent a complete societal breakdown. He believed that only through such bold, even revolutionary, steps could America pull itself out of the abyss and restore faith in its institutions. Franklin Roosevelt's presidency stands alone in American history for one undeniable fact: he served 4 terms in office. This unprecedented tenure, breaking a tradition established by George Washington, led many opponents to accuse him of dictatorial tendencies. Was he an American Caesar, consolidating power in a way that threatened the very foundations of democracy? Roosevelt's extended stay in the White House was undeniably driven by the escalating global crisis of World War II. As the world plunged into conflict, the American people repeatedly chose to retain their experienced leader. British Prime Minister Winston Churchill, a close wartime ally, famously quipped that he too would have wanted 4 terms if it meant seeing the war to its victorious conclusion. For Roosevelt, the goal was not personal power, but to preserve a world where such power would ultimately not be needed, a world safe for democracy. Yet, even in the context of global war, Roosevelt's legacy carries a significant stain: the internment of over 120,000 Japanese Americans during the war. Driven by fear and racial prejudice, this executive order forcibly removed citizens and legal residents from their homes and incarcerated them in desolate camps. It remains a stark reminder of the fragility of civil liberties, even under a leader celebrated for defending democracy. This act, alongside his prolonged presidency, forces us to confront a difficult question. When does strong leadership, necessary in times of crisis, cross the line into authoritarianism? Roosevelt navigated this perilous boundary, making decisions that were both celebrated as essential for national survival and condemned as deeply antithetical to American ideals. His 4 terms represent both a testament to his enduring popularity and a cautionary tale about the concentration of power. Franklin Roosevelt's strategic approach to World War II was a masterclass in geopolitical calculation, a bloody arithmetic, designed to minimize American casualties while ensuring Allied victory. He understood that the American public, still reeling from the Depression, had little appetite for direct military intervention on a massive scale. His solution was the ingenious and controversial Lend-Lease program. Implemented in 1941, Lend-Lease allowed the United States to provide vast quantities of war materials, food, and equipment to its allies, primarily Great Britain, the Soviet Union, and China. This was not charity, it was a strategic investment in the war effort, a way to fight the Axis powers without immediately committing large numbers of American soldiers to combat. The scale of this aid was staggering. The USSR received over 400,000 trucks, and Britain relied on Lend-Lease for nearly 30% of its food supply. This policy allowed the US to support the war effort indirectly, building up its own military strength while its allies bore the brunt of the fighting. The result was a stark disparity in human cost. American casualties, though significant, were 10 times fewer than those suffered by the Soviet Union. This cold, hard arithmetic saved countless American lives, but it came with profound consequences for the post-war world. The immense aid provided to the Soviet Union undoubtedly contributed to its ability to withstand the Nazi onslaught and push back against the German war machine. However, it also inadvertently strengthened Joseph Stalin's regime, contributing to the rise of the Soviet superpower and the subsequent division of Europe into Cold War blocs. Furthermore, the massive wartime spending, while stimulating the economy, also fed what some critics termed monster wages, laying the groundwork for future economic challenges. Roosevelt's strategy was effective, but its long-term geopolitical ramifications were immense and complex. Decades after his death, Franklin Roosevelt's legacy remains a battleground, particularly for those who champion limited government and free market principles. His big government policies, the expansion of federal power, and the creation of the modern welfare state are seen by many conservatives as an elite nightmare, a fundamental betrayal of American individualism and economic freedom. The New Deal, with its unprecedented spending, cost an estimated $50 billion at the time, an astronomical sum equivalent to over $1 trillion today. Critics argue that Roosevelt's interventions stifled economic recovery, created dependency, and set the nation on a path toward unsustainable debt. They contend that the New Deal was an overreach, a dangerous precedent that fundamentally altered the relationship between the individual and the state. For these detractors, Roosevelt is not a savior, but the architect of an overbearing federal bureaucracy. Yet, to his ardent defenders, Roosevelt's actions were not merely necessary, they were the very salvation of American democracy and capitalism. In a time of profound despair, when totalitarian ideologies were gaining traction worldwide, the New Deal provided hope, opportunity, and a sense of security to millions. It demonstrated that democracy could respond to crisis, that government could be a force for good, and that capitalism could be reformed to serve the many, not just the few. Roosevelt was not a saint, nor was he infallible. He was a pragmatist, a political operator who understood the brutal realities of power. He played a high-stakes game, making difficult choices that had far-reaching consequences, both positive and negative. His legacy is inconvenient because it forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that sometimes, to preserve fundamental values, leaders must employ radical means. He rebooted capitalism, not by abandoning it, but by fundamentally reshaping it to survive. Franklin Delano Roosevelt played a brutal poker game against the forces of economic collapse and global tyranny. His chips were unconventional: his own disability, the power of radio, and the existential threat of war. He wielded these tools with unparalleled skill, transforming personal tragedy into political strength, using communication to unite a fractured nation, and leveraging global conflict to reshape the world order. He won the game, pulling America from the brink and leading the Allies to victory. Yet, his triumph left behind a complex, often contradictory, legacy. The expansion of government, the concentration of power, and the moral compromises made in the name of national survival continue to provoke debate. Roosevelt's story poses a crucial question for the 21st century. Where is the line between strong leadership, essential in times of crisis, and the dangerous slide towards dictatorship? His presidency serves as a powerful reminder that history is not clean, and the greatest leaders are often those who navigate the murkiest moral waters, making choices that resonate for generations. His impact on America is undeniable, a testament to a man who, despite his flaws, made a nation stand up again.